This information will be provided to FA, who may, at their discretion, also enforce these bans. Any patron who breaches these conditions may be evicted from the venue and may be banned from attending future matches of the club or clubs as determined in accordance with FA policy. All patrons must adhere to FD's spectator code behaviour at all times. It is important that all spectators at Football Victoria Group's fixture can enjoy the matches in a safe and comfortable environment. There's no excuse for abuse. Accordingly, each person present at an FA fixture must respect the decisions and instructions of the match officials and group marshals. Respect the rights, dignity, and worth of every person regardless of their age or gender identity, and expression, sexual orientation, race, colour, religion, language, politics, national origin. Not shame, humiliate, oppress, belittle, harass, or degrade any player, match official, or spectator. Not engage in the use of physical or verbal abuse, whether it be by other spectators, team officials, or players. Not engage in any form of verbal, physical, or online bullying. Not engage in discrimination, harassment, or use of any form, whether lawful or otherwise, including, but not limited to, the use of obscene or offensive language or gestures, incitement of hatred or violence, or partaking in indecent or aggressive. Respect the facilities and equipment of all clubs and venues. Report any instances of discrimination or threatening behaviour to a match official, ground marshal, or by contacting disciplinary or Comply with these condition of entry or any ticket conditions. Not carry, light, or throw flares or missiles, including onto the field of play or at other spectators. Not enter the field of play or its surrounds without lawful authority. Conduct themselves in a manner that enhances rather than injures the reputation and goodwill of FB, Football Australia, and Football Germany. Not display within the venue any offensive or inappropriate banners, whether in English or a foreign language, or any other sign, flag, emblem, or insignia which may offend the person. Ensure all social media posts related to or affiliated with FB are respectful, accurate, lawful, and coming from the reputation of FB. This includes, but is not limited to, all players adopt and maintain a responsible attitude and consumption of alcohol and other controlled substances with respect to the venue policies. Any person who violates reasonably likely to cause a disturbance may be convicted future matches on behalf of the any offender that breaches the laws against them may be charged with trespassing, subject to additional penalties and sanctions, including the possibility of further. Thank you, and enjoy the game.
Semi-final and grand final. Check, check. 1, 2. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Good afternoon, Magnus. Thanks for joining us. It's a lovely day in Broadmeadows.
An uncharacteristically lovely day.
No wind at all.
Incredible.
So, sorry.
Me?
Oh, so you need to go up.
I can go up a bit. Steve can come down a little bit, and we'll find an
We'll try it
equilibrium.
again.
Okay, now I am speaking a little bit louder, and now Steve.
Let's just try and match that. So we're going to kick off in around 10 minutes, and is that all right?
Match day 21 in NPL Victoria. Senol NPL Victoria, I should say. Happy?
Yeah, happy. Good.
Yeah, I've got them for you. Craig Deering, Jordan English, Daphne, Norris.
Did you get them off Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the desktop side.
Yeah.
It's not on the app.
I just have to bring it in here. Because you can't check it at home because it's not ready yet.
Do you have the stream going for the place? Awesome. Less clutter. So, completely unchanged, beautiful. And here, one change off on the music. Net to party. So that last one. Yep, and many of comes in on the So, I was looking through, there's errors on Google for goal scorers as well.
There it is in their last meeting.
Edisu has 11 this season. 10 on 12. Yeah. 10 on Google, 12 on Sober Score, 11 on Google.
Yeah. And it has the big scoring in that game. It was really all of a sudden. It was like,
yeah.
there's multiple. So Salmon's on 3 and Dribble's on 2.
Yeah, okay. And Labib's on 6. So.
Correct.
Yeah.
Arguably, Spink does score that goal, but it's already over the line before from Bayou's header in that game.
Yeah, I think it wasn't late on the day.
Yeah, so maybe that one. I was thinking.
Well,
maybe
good
that one
afternoon,
technically
ladies and
is
gentlemen,
better
and
than
welcome back to Nazio Stadium
Spink.
for round 21 of the National Premier League Victoria
Yeah, Spink does have 2.
Today, Hume City
Buyer's
FC
got
welcomes
11,
Oakleigh Cannons
but
for a
on
top-of-the-table
dribble,
clash.
his
Hume City
his
FC
goal
would like to
against,
take this opportunity to
Bentley.
acknowledge
Bentley
its
isn't there.
Because
2026
Bingham
part.
scored a hat trick against Bentley,
Nazio,
so he's got 5.
Paloma
But it says he
Perfume,
only has 2 on dribble. So
Sumi,
there's like
Senol,
some real.
it's all over
RHF
the
Stone,
place, man.
Yeah.
It's all
Clearview
five, yeah.
Windows,
So that Bentley game, they haven't added
They haven't
any
added
of the
no,
scorers.
nothing.
Oh, that's a
and the
disaster.
Grand Hotel.
Come on, man.
Now, today's starting lineup from Hume City is as follows.
Was that the?
Number
They got
13,
five.
Damon Camilleri.
It was, yeah.
Number 4, and our captain, Taylor Shrivers. Number
One of the best
5,
things we've done all.
Help us level the playing field. Sign the parliamentary petition today to fuel the growth and fund the game.
Hello and welcome. Saturday afternoon football coming away in round 21 of the Senol NPL Victoria men's competition. At the top of the tree in Victorian football, the league leaders Oakleigh travel to take on second placed Hume City here at Senol Stadium in what promises to be a mouth-watering clash and perhaps a finals football preview. Winless in their last two outings, including a drama-filled defeat at Preston last Friday night. The familiar surroundings of Broadmeadows could be the scene of Nick Hegarty's Hume to narrow the gap to the top today, and we're just going to pause for a moment's silence. Well, it's an impeccably observed moment silence here at Senol Stadium. As we mentioned, Hume looking to narrow the gap at the top to Chris Taylor's Cannon, still unbeaten in 15 in the league now. They'll feel quietly confident after another professional display last week, enjoying a 2-0 win against a talented Avondale outfit. Their last meeting was a great watch, with Oakleigh coming from behind to keep their league hoodoo over Hume going with the 3-2 win at Jack Edwards. It's now 7 wins for Oakleigh in a row in this fixture when these sides have met in the league. Thanks for your company on the broadcast. It's a lovely day here in Broadmeadows, and I'm very fortunate to be joined by Josh Parrish. Good afternoon, Josh.
Steve, this is the biggest day of the Senol NPL Victoria season in my mind. First versus second to start, the big show at Lakeside to follow. So you'll be double screening in the second half of this one, I'm sure. But just a fantastic clash, mouth-watering on paper. Hume City with just the one change, and I'm pleased to see Chris Engelhardt back in the starting lineup. He's been one of their leading lights, the Mexican who's come across from club football in Andorra, a hidden gem, you might say, and he has turned it on this season. So have Hume City, have had a magnificent campaign, but the stark reality remains that if Oakleigh win today, they go 7 points clear at the top of the table, and in my mind, that is an unassailable lead in the race for the plate.
Yeah, and especially with some of the fixtures they have coming up to close out the season, I can't see them getting mowed down from there, and that will see them guarantee a spot in the Australian Championship in the postseason in October, November. So a lot to play for at stake for this one when you factor that in too. And we're just about to get underway, and it's Hume City in the all-red. They're playing to the Barry Road end of the stadium. Oakleigh playing towards the city end in their all-navy. It's a picture-perfect afternoon for football. There's vapour trails across the blue sky here in July in Melbourne. We're underway in just a moment with Puya Gadirian, the finance analyst, about to get the ball rolling. And after a moment of suspense, there was no 10-second countdown there like we've seen in North America, but we are now underway. There's an early touch for the bib as he heads it out towards the players' race. Such a great contest last time these sides met, but Oakleigh, they've really got the wood over Hume in the league, Josh.
Steve, I was about to say it's almost hot enough for a hydration break, and one not to appease the sponsors. But yeah, as you mentioned, 7 games straight Oakleigh have beaten Hume in the league. Obviously, the exception being their Doherty Cup meeting last year, which Hume prevailed 3-2. But the last time that Hume City won a league game against Oakleigh at this venue was the very first week that league-wide streaming kicked in NPL Victoria. It was round 2, I think. In 2019, back in February 2019, which was a Hume City win. Ersin Kai with a goal after just 3 minutes. If they could pull off a similar result today, they would be very, very pleased indeed after last week's disappointment against Preston Lions.
Yeah, that is a long time between drinks at this ground for a league win. That was a great match, the Doherty Cup.
I don't know whether I've added too many caveats on that stat for it to be noteworthy at all, but it was a nice trip down memory lane, right. Looking back at that goal.
Oh, definitely. And one of those early goals as well, and the whistle's going to go here against Godfrey DeBelle. It's just infringed against Jacob Trapp. So, yeah, they have had a couple of cup victories, have Hume at this venue in the meantime. That one, I mentioned that Godfrey de Ballet scoring the winning goal in that one. What a great individual goal that was to sink Oakleigh out of the cup last year. And Hume had their run ended a week or so later out at Nunawading City, which is something we didn't expect as well last year in the cup. And then both of these sides were knocked out by Brunswick Juventus in consecutive rounds this year as well. But it's all about league football this afternoon and who can draw first blood. And, well, Hume would just love to get that hoodoo out of the way and get a win at home here and close the gap at the top. Most of all is Adisu Bai, who's trying to find a way past the former Hume man in Joseph Ford. He plays it up towards Adam Gerardovich. Couldn't pick him out.
I think if Hume are going to do it, the conditions are perfect. They've got their best team on the park for the first time in a few weeks, maybe minus Chris Oldfield in goal, although Damon Camilleri's done an admirable job deputising. But I think this is their best 10 outfield players, and they haven't always had them together, with a few fitness issues derailing their form in recent weeks. But this early kick-off time suits them as well. At 2 p.m, I don't think other teams are used to it. They're used to Friday night football in the NPL, and you come here and your routine's out. Do you have breakfast? Do you have lunch? Do you smash a kebab before kick-off? We certainly did. But I think that will play in Hume's favour as well. But Oakleigh, as you mentioned, 15 games unbeaten in league football is just a ridiculous record. And Chris Taylor's side keeps rolling. They just are the pillar of consistency in a season that's, all their rivals have been anything but.
And Chris Taylor keeps on stating they do the simple things right. They don't overcomplicate it. Last week, really good without the ball against Avondale. They absorbed plenty of pressure, but their defensive shape, they sit into a block of 4-4-2 behind the ball, out of possession. Guest and Gerardovich at the front of it, and they're hard to break down. They play their home ground very well, as we mentioned in pre-match.
I was speaking to a former Oakleigh player about their run to their last title in 2024. And they had a bit of a crisis game away at Green Gully that season. So a heavy challenge goes in from Coda Cador. He's walking the tightrope today. He's on 4 yellow cards for the season. The next one will see him suspended.
Might have got away with just a warning this time for that foul on Matthew Miller, who scored his first goal, returning to Victoria in Oakleigh colours last week. Good header from a Guest set piece. That's what we're going to see again here. Joe Guest standing over this one. So it's going to be all about concentration for the Hume back four and their goalkeeper, Damon Camilleri. It's away at the near post by Coda Cador, only as far as Joseph Ford. And here's Gerardovich in the wide areas. Good work by Adisu Bayou to send it back. Hopefully still without Cam McGilpin central midfield, so it's Strong and Sinclair sitting in there with Guest just ahead of them. There's a chance for Hampson. One of their leading lights once again this season. That cross is an awkward one into the back post area for the sun in the eyes of Damon Camilleri. You could just about use the baseball cap or maybe even the bucket hat perhaps out there, Josh, in this first half as he looks to that northerly aspect with the sun shining into the eyes there of the young goalkeeper. Chris Oldfield doing some work in pre-match to get his conditioning back up to speed. No doubt we'll see him back in the team soon.
I was just saying that CT keeping things simple. They had that crisis game away at Green Gully in 2024. I think they had 3 injuries in that game, players arguing with each other as they walked down the tunnel. A terrible defeat. Refereeing decisions going against them, they felt. And they got back to training and, you're expecting CT to read the riot act. But instead it was, and I'm paraphrasing here, I know we're going through a bit of a rough patch, but you win your one-on-one duels and get good deliveries into the box, we'll be okay.
He's not wrong.
And it turns out they were. They went and won the championship. So it turns out he just, he's got a reputation for keeping things simple, but I think he gives agency to the players, which a lot of coaches can't bear that level of control being taken away from them. I think that's actually brave and bold coaching.
Chance here for Burkhan Kurdar. He's going to play it out wide. A little bit of space for Bayou, throwing the step overs at Joseph Ford. Kurdar again. His first touch went up in the air. Shrivers was offering support out wide. Kurdar's going to keep going towards the byline. It's a hot football out there on the far side near the turnstiles. Good pick up here by Labib. Labib, he's been one of the informed players during the winter part of this campaign after struggling to find the back of the net. He hasn't been able to stop scoring in recent months. That ball is far too long for Labib to mow down, so it's going to be another goal kick here. As we said, beautiful conditions at Broadmeadows Valley Park Nasiol Stadium. Would you believe it's 18 degrees? There's barely a breath of wind. We brought our large winter jackets like we're ready to dress for the snow. We're certainly not needing them at the moment.
I overheard the Oakleigh goalkeepers commenting on the pitch pre-game as I was doing my rounds, and they said it's really fast, even though it's dry. So expect that ball to zip through, not hold up. The ball's over the top. The goalkeepers will have to be quick out off their line, and players sweepers today.
Had the sprinklers on pre-game too, so that will only quicken things up.
Will dry up a little bit as the half wears on, but really nice deck. You know, I think the last few years it's just gone from strength to strength. It used to be a bit of a squelchy mud pit out here at ABD when streaming first kicked off in this competition. Hume's last home league win against Oakleigh, and these days it is a carpet.
It does seem to be in a bit of a rain band out here. It's often the storms that pass across the northern suburbs do hit here, but they've obviously done a lot of work on that undersoil drainage and making sure that it doesn't get too clogged up, and we're going to see good football from that as a result today. As DeBalle is doing the defensive work, he knocks Hampson to the ground. Hume coaching staff not impressed with the decision, but it's going to be another free kick on this near side to the Cannons here.
I think that's fair enough. Arm extended from DeBalle, a little bit over enthusiastic. It's terrific tracking back for him to get back.
Absolutely.
And
work
get
rate
on the left back.
Yep.
It's not his man, but you don't want to concede free kicks against Oakleigh. They go uncharacteristically short this time, and Guest will whip it in, and it's missed everything over the goalkeeper's head and behind for a goal kick.
Good move by Oakleigh. Uncharacteristic though from Guest to not nail the cross.
Yeah, usually they don't go for the short corner, Oakleigh, but
Caught us off guard here.
or the short free kick. That was a nicely rehearsed routine and got them into a good position. Just the execution was lacking. Guess not exactly racking up the assists as he did last season. His numbers were off the charts. Still a very consistent provider of chances for this Oakleigh team. It's actually Burkan Kurdar who leads the assists tally per sofa score anyway, with 10 this season. His set-piece deliveries have been pretty incredible as well. Here's Matt Miller for Oakleigh. Miller will go for goal, and it drifts across the face. Camilleri never in too much bother.
Just for a moment there, it looked like Camilleri was caught on the hop, but that ball did eventually fizz past the far post. Isn't it great as well, as you say, Josh, to see two, probably, you know, it was arguably the two premier top 10s, number 10s in the competition, Joe Guest, going head-to-head here with Burkan Kurdar, and it was Joe Guest who decided the result last time with the winning goal at Jack Edwards. So will we see one of those two decide the result off their own boot this afternoon? That is the question at the moment. Camilleri in possession. Guest just encourage him to take another touch almost.
I think Hume will look back on that fixture at Jack Edwards with some regret with the chances they missed. Playing with fire here, but they don't turn it over, and it's Burkan Kurdar with a good look at this Oakleigh back four. Takes a heavy touch. Ball squirms through to Adisu Bayu. Advantage paid. Kador shopping back onto his right and lifting it to the far post. And Hume can't fire off a shot, but that was a very presentable opening on the counter-attack, and this is a team, well, both teams pride themselves on their attacking transitions.
Yeah, Hume just really found the space between the lines there that doesn't normally exist in between that Oakleigh defensive structure, between midfield and the defence of the navy shirts. That might have been a handball by Labib. Play-on's the call from Pulya Gadirian.
Yeah, it was a near turnover for Hume that actually drew in the Oakleigh midfield, and then Aidan Coyne with a great second effort to slide in and knock the ball through. And suddenly they were in behind Kingsley Sinclair and Campbell Strong.
Aidan Coyne was excellent when they sides met last time as well. He'd been used primarily as a fullback, as a right back leading up to that fixture, and he slotted into that number 6 role, and he really controlled the game really well in that position.
I like him a lot more as a 6, I have to say. I think he's much more comfortable there.
Yeah, I tend to agree. They look better as a unit when he's playing in that role.
Yeah, I think it just complements the team better as well, because you've got great fullbacks. You know, Shrivers is deputising slightly out of his natural position, but Kador is a really solid option at right back, so you don't really need Coyne in that spot. You can use his energy and physicality and game sense in the middle of the park. Complements the more laconic Steve White very nicely.
Coyne winning that header right in the centre of the park against Joe Guest. Touch for Miller, last week's goal scorer. He's forward. He goes long periods of the game without getting forward, but he's pushing up the flank here. It's going to be another throw over on the athletics track side of the venue here. Here's a chance for Strong. So it's Hume's turn to sit behind the ball. You can see there's a lot at stake by the way these sides have set up so far, Josh. That seems to be the tactics from both managers. Don't want to show their hand too early. Guess dropping deep to pick up possession. Oakleigh looking to find some openings in the passing lanes ahead of Jacob Trapp. Sinclair presenting. Miller's pulled out wide left. He's got Kadua to beat. Gets onto the right foot. It's a useful ball. Djuranovic with the touch, and on the second attempt he gets the shot on target. It's not hit with a lot of venom, so Camilleri is able to field that one fairly easily. It's been a long time between drinks for Adam Djuranovic. He's raced to 9 goals early in the season. He now hasn't scored in 9 league fixtures, so he'd love to break the drought today.
Yeah, he's been scoring in bunches, and the bunches haven't come lately.
I think it was that last game he scored in. He scored 4 goals at Green Gully Reserve, so maybe complacency's crept in since then as Sinclair's going to pick up the ball. Guess with the clever touch. Hampson on his non-preferred side. Just tried to go for placement.
That was a good move from Oakleigh. Starting to dictate things.
They've definitely started the better of the Cannons who've, as we said, they've got that hoodoo running over Hume.
I think they'll be happy enough for Hume to have the ball in these sorts of areas and just trying to nip at their heels and force a turnover in the middle of the park when they are forced to go into a congested area. DeBelle did really well though. Engelhardt. White. Out to Kurtar. Shrivers back to Steve White. Now Coyne with a bit of real estate to work in. Has Kador wide and finds him. Coda Kador in a crossing position. Looked in low and can't beat Hampson at the near post. Djuranovic pulling out of the tackle. He knew he was about to concede a free kick there. Kador. One for Kurtar to chase. And Tom Manos sees it behind for a goal kick. But that's better football from Hume. And they got over that crucial hurdle of when that first ball goes into the final third. DeBelle was able to keep it. A combination of DeBelle and Engelhardt there, because that's usually where Oakleigh will step in really aggressively, win the ball, and then you're exposed on the counter-attack.
It was a well-organised attack. Engelhardt knew that he needed to drift inside for that opportunity to support DeBelle, and such a good hold-up player, Godfrey DeBelle, as well, so playing to his strengths there, and it's good to see Hume trying to get themselves into the game in an attacking sense a little bit. It's been predominantly Oakleigh so far, but chance here for Hume to reload again from the throw, right in front of our broadcast position. Beautiful elevated spot we have here. Give you the best look at the action from the comfort of your own home in the Senol NPL Victoria, round 21 of the men's competition. It's a long throw from Kadua. It was well read by Trapp. It's picked up now by Guest.
DeBelle's really thrived in that central role this season. He's playing largely as a winger last year, which I didn't think quite suited him. Wasn't what he was doing when he was in Queensland. He's had to develop his game a little bit. Previously played as a part of the front two with Xander Guy, actually, and he was the man who was always running in behind for Gold Coast Knights. He's developed his game to play as a solo centre forward. He's often come at the expense of Josh Bingham. An impressive run from Engelhardt, and the referee just waiting for advantage to accrue before pulling the free kick back for Hume City. He's so agile in those tight spaces.
He's such an exciting player to watch when he's able to get the ball back to goal. He's great, but when he can get the ball and turn and run with it at defenders, he's an excitement machine, and hopefully we'll get to see that at some point today. And I still remember his goal here that was the winning goal in that Doherty Cup match. Keep going on about it, but it was such a good goal to see a big man turn and run with the ball. It's like prime V-Bomber back in the day. Fantastic stuff, and he's strong. He's got the bib out wide if he can get the ball to him, but Coyne was nipping at the heels. Now Burkhan Kurda is surging through the middle of Nasiol Stadium. He's been fouled, and will we see the card out of the pocket here? We do. It's a booking for Kingsley Sinclair, the first of the game.
Well, Oakleigh thought they had a free kick, but in my eyes, that was a clean challenge from Aidan Coyne.
Certainly Chris Taylor not in agreement with that opinion.
I think you heard his thoughts loud and clear on the effects spikes here. Can't say I agree with CT on this occasion. I thought that was a decent challenge,
like
at least from our angle.
It looked like a good challenge from up here. We are have the privilege of a more elevated position up here than the coaches in the technical area.
Back the referee there, and a correct yellow card as well. Kingsley Sinclair knew what he was doing. This will be White to deliver. Nice shape on it. Tratt away from danger. Handball against Bayou. Yes, it will be paid. It did look awkward the way he took that on his quote-unquote chest. Sort of pinballed back off his body, but did look a handball.
Yeah, Koya Gadirian was well placed there to observe that one. So the moment breaks down for Hume. A little bit cagey at the moment. Just waiting for this game to really burst into life. It usually does when these sides meet at some point in time. Don't have to wait too long before the goals start flying in. 3-2s in previous encounters this year and last. We're expecting goals this afternoon. His guest, he can play it out wide to Hampson, who's been busy in patches down this left-hand side. It's a dangerous ball that bounces in the area. Miller was going to ground. It still might break for Juratovic. Well, a couple of comings together in quick succession in the Hume penalty area, but we've got a player who stayed down behind the play here for Hume, so the trainer's going to be called out here for Hume.
It was Miller colliding with him. Oakleigh was shouting for a penalty, but I felt Matt Miller was backing into his man, and that's probably why the player who's down, can't quite see who it is yet, might be Spink, but why he's come off second best.
I believe it is Spink. Culver's up on his feet, having a bit of a hydration break himself.
I think it was just a flailing arm that's caught him in the nose. Yeah, it is Braden Spink. But yeah, Miller did look as if he was backing into his marker, which is why the referee waved it on.
Yeah, it's a correct call looking back at the footage.
Been well refereed by Koya Gadirian. A potential powder keg this game. So much on the line. Very early days yet, of course. There's plenty more controversy to come, I'm sure. But if this game doesn't spring to life in the first half, it will off the bench, I think. I mean, look at Oakleigh's subs. You know, you've got Liston Diaz, who looked like the best player in the competition in the first 2 months of the season, riding the pine. And Joe Knowles as well, coming back from his ACL and his journey back.
Yeah, strong benches for both sides. It looks like the trainer there for Hume, Sani Youssef, has signalled for substitution to take place due to... Looks like he's copped a smack in the nose, Braden Spink. He's going off with the handkerchief over the nose at the moment and heading down the tunnel. So we might see a change here for Hume because they're down to 10 for the moment. So Oakleigh might try and grasp the nettle here. Hampson.
I anticipate Taylor Shrivers will cover that central defensive position, and they'll bring on either Wilkins or Addis as the left fullback. Shrivers is a natural central defender, so they don't have any on the bench, but they've got one on the pitch already in reserve.
Aiden Coyne just slotting into the back four for the moment, so Oakleigh with the advantage here in extra man in midfield.
Yeah, it is Sahi Addis who's been summoned. Got the energy gel and receiving his final instructions. Counters on here for DeBelle, who flies past Boyce. Held up by Strong. Still the Hume City attack continues. Through Disubeu. Ran into traffic. And that's a good clean win from the Oakleigh Cannons and Kingsley Sinclair. And they've had openings on the counter-attack, Hume. They just haven't been decisive enough to make the most of them. Now they have to defend with Joe Guest lining up his sights and didn't catch it cleanly. Blocked by Coyne.
Well, everyone's just sitting behind the ball in the red shirts here as Oakleigh just keep sending waves of attacks forward. Hume holding strong, and they just want the ball to go out so they can get Zahi Addis onto the pitch. Another one of those Queenslanders in the Hume squad. Here's Miller. His cross was blocked. It might break for Guest. Good feet by Joe Guest. Gets to the byline. His cross was blocked by Steve White. It really is all hands to the pump here for Hume at the moment. They're going to get that chance to make that change. So it is Braden Spink who's off with a nose injury. A bit of blood coming out there, and he's replaced quickly by Zahi Addis. So one Queenslander for another in the Hume defence. Keep an eye on how they reshuffle that back four there, Josh, as we have the corner kick coming in first, though, from Kingsley Sinclair.
Usually the cardinal sin to make a sub when you're defending a corner, but if you're already down to 10 men...
If the man's already gone down the tunnel...
I think that absolves you of that
exception.
Sin.
In it comes. Away by the Hume defence. Only as far as Sinclair, the original taker. He gets a useful ball into the back post, and Camilleri took a touch on that one, tipping it behind for another corner. That might have been going past the post, but the young goalkeeper didn't want to take any chances.
Yeah, he wasn't to know, and he wasn't to know there wasn't a blue shirt behind him waiting to tap it in on the goal line. So, better safe than sorry from Damon Camilleri, even if it comes at the cost of another corner. It'll be Joe Guest's magic left peg over this one. Good shape on it. Well, commentator's curse. I talked up his left peg. It's a poor delivery. Or at least didn't meet the run of his teammates.
The entire team made a run in at Damon Camilleri. No one had stayed out of the 6-yard box at the back post.
Yeah, we're just expecting just a little more bend on that delivery from Guest. Trying to create chaos at the back stick.
Can't really blame the wind out here, which is something you often can use as an excuse at Nasiol Stadium.
Maybe the wake of a passing aeroplane. Not quite.
Don't rule it out. One of the features of the pre-match with the sprinklers coming on was the Hume City bench remained nice and dry, but there was a jet of water just straight into the away bench just to wet all of the seats pre-game. So maybe a little bit of mind games there going on with the groundsman pre-game here.
Well, if Oakleigh are celebrating come full time, don't be surprised if they turn them on again. Alan Mourinho at the new camp.
We've seen this before. So it's Hampson to take the throw. Plenty of play on this broadcast side, the eastern side of Nasiol Stadium. Calver's headers out of play, and Oakleigh just working their way down the touchline. He's looking for those small wins at the moment. Neither side really able to test out either goalkeeper yet. Camilleri has had a save to make, but very much regulation. Hart thought that had come back off a Navy sock, but it's been given as an Oakleigh throw.
Well, Joe Guest's reaction suggested that it had come back off an Oakleigh player. He looked really frustrated, turned away in disgust, and then has to shape up again for another Oakleigh throw. Miller. Kurdar's come off second best after that coming together. DeBelle charge down Manos, but calmly done by the veteran goalkeeper. Hampson collected by Kurdar. It's a frustration foul. from Hume City's number 10.
Has a nasty one there from Kurdar, leaving a boot in on Hampson.
It's just a flash of anger because he's just been kicked by a guest, inadvertently or otherwise.
Kurdar's another player who's picked up 4 yellow cards this season as well. So the match coming up against St Albans next Friday night, risking a holiday next week in round 22.
I think he's lucky to get away with that without a booking. He was lucky to get away scot-free after a in-goal melee following Hume City's goal back against Preston, which proved to be disallowed last week in the most bizarre of circumstances. I'm sure any Hume City fans watching don't want us to rehash those circumstances, but a lot of frustration there. But there's a lot going on inside the Preston goalmouth after you get those melees when the team's 2-0 up, a goal back, and goalkeeper grabs the ball, doesn't want to give it up.
There was plenty of feeling in that moment, but who would have thought something I've never seen before. 12 players on the park for Hume. Goal disallowed. 4-year-old Max Wright will feel a bit hard done by. He thought he'd had his first goal since coming out to Australia.
And now he's out of the squad. I assume that's injury related. But it is a strong squad, and you've got the age restrictions as well, so could be selection. None the wiser.
I think he's been out of football for a few months before arriving in Australia too. He's had a connection with Nick Hegarty, who brought him out to play. Perhaps we'll see him back in the squad next week, particularly if Hume is to incur a suspension next week for the likes of Burkhan Kurdar if he's to pick up a yellow card in this match at some point. So Hume have finally managed to work this one down into their front third. Looks like the throw's been...
DeBelle's a bit unlucky there not to get a free kick.
Yeah, give it to Oakleigh with no free.
I wouldn't have called that shoulder to shoulder. Did get his body ball side and then cops a shove in the back from Trapp. Tends to be a fairly laissez-faire approach in NPL Victoria across the board. They let them play, but certainly Nick Hegarty was frustrated.
We've seen those free kicks given, but referees just do seem to like to let the game flow in this Victorian competition. Now, Kadua's got the throw in front of the Hume technical area. Kurdar, who was lucky to escape the booking a short time ago. Well played by Kurdar in the tight space next to the touchline. Adrian Coyne goes all the way back to Calver, and they can reload here. Hume, they need to move the ball a bit quicker, you fancy, against this Oakleigh defensive block, and they can try and do so now.
Oakleigh were just flooding one corner of the pitch with 7-8 blue shirts. There's no way through there. You have to switch the ball. Have done eventually here through Zahiatis, and he'll get a corner. Off Labib and behind.
First Hume corner of the afternoon, if I'm right.
These two sides are sort of mirrors of one another in a way. I mean, both great counter-attacking teams who excel off set pieces. And they've got more strings to their bow than that, but it's where a lot of their goals come from, so you wonder whether Hume City can make the most of their set-piece opportunities against a side so dominant at set pieces as Oakleigh, at least historically so. Kurdar into the near post. Shout for handball, more from the bench than the pitch. Shrivers will hook it back in, and Bayou's header drops without a red shirt there to attack it.
Well, that was super close for Adisu Bayou there. Similar moment in their last meeting where he rose high at the back post. Getting into the game, he's switched out to this right-hand side of Hume's attack for the moment. Good touch for DeBellet, and now Kadua, fully committed, was Hampson. It's a fair challenge, says Puya Gadirian. That ball by Matt Miller was never going to come off.
Hume complaining a little bit that Hampson went in with 2 feet, but I think that he wasn't towards the player. He was just blocking the lane.
Yeah, that's why I can see why Puya Gadirian's let that one go.
He got the ball. It
yeah.
wasn't dangerous. Not every 2-footed challenge is dangerous. Most of them are, but that one wasn't.
It's long as it's not the studs coming directly at the opponent. It's business time down in the technical area for Nick Hegarty, who's ripped the hoodie off. He's really warming up down here. I can't believe we've got such a nice day in the middle of July here in Melbourne. We'll take it any day of the week, though, particularly if it falls on a weekend. Hope you're enjoying this one. Senol NPL Victoria men's competition, round 21. We're locked at 0-0 between the league leaders. Oakleigh Cannons on the road here at Hume City. Hume forced into a change midway through this first half. Braden Spink off with a bloodied nose. Replaced with Zahi Addis. Taylor Shrivers has shifted into that central defensive position. Plenty of good football coming away in this round 21 as well. We had a couple of wins for teams in the relegation zone last night, both of them at home. Green Gully 3-1 over Dandenong Thunder, and Bentley Greens 2-1 winners over Dandenong City, a night that Nick Tolios probably won't want to revisit. So a good result for the side that Adam Piddick's just taken over recently. Down at Kingston Heath, the Greens, their first win for a long, long time.
Yeah, just when you think you've got the season figured out, it throws up another surprise. Dandy City looked to be on the charge and almost fallen off in recent weeks.
They put in a really strong performance not long ago against Avondale at home to get the win against a top 6 side, and then didn't anticipate them losing to a side in the relegation zone. Plenty of players in navy shirts behind the ball here. Engelhart just trying to get himself imprinted onto this game. He wins the throw down near the corner flag. It's Kota Kadua to take. He can launch them long. Looks like he's not looking to put his back into this one, though. Kota again is the preferred option. And he's fouled Kingsley Sinclair there again.
Is that not an attacking move? Is that not stopping an attack? You booked one play for it.
I think you can hear the thoughts of Chris Taylor. And on this occasion, I'm inclined to agree. Curtis had 2 offences. One was a poor challenge. One was stopping a counter-attack, and you'd think that he's walking on very thin ice now.
I think the next one he gives away, he almost has to go into the book just for the repeated nature of his fouling out there in this first half. Sent long by Manos. Miller was the target. Good knockdown. Finds Juratovic in a crowded sea of red shirts. Labib's in a little bit more space. Forward on the overlap. Joseph Ford getting to the byline. Can he cut it back? It's away by Shrivers. Good clearance by the man who started at fullback and has moved to central defence. Labib hasn't really imprinted himself on this game too much so far. It's one that Hume have got to keep a close eye on, though.
Well, you can see the application and intensity of Godfrey DeBelle, chasing down every lost cause, putting himself about, sliding in there on Sinclair, who nips clear. Miller. Hampson. Playing in Guest. Left the ball behind him. That was a swing and a miss from Kador. I don't think it was an elaborate feint.
You don't see that too often, especially from a player technically skilled as Kota Kadua. His feet in all sorts there. Not sure if it had rolled across his standing foot or something and deviated. Sometimes that's the reason for those kind of moments.
Oh, it's bizarre.
Here's Calvar. Engelhart with the chalk on his boots is wide right. Miller getting back to give chase. Engelhart gets to the byline. DeBelle lurking there. Rose the highest and went past Bayou as well, and Manos mops up. Well, that was a good attack for him. They haven't had too many threatening moments in that Oakleigh penalty area, but an impressive cross from Engelhart, and he's one that Oakleigh have got to keep a close eye on.
It's the first time Engelhart has tried to go down the line in this game. He's been playing in that inside pocket, very, very narrow, trying to create width for Kador to exploit, but he went himself and just outpaced the Oakleigh backline. It was pretty straightforward stuff. stood it up beautifully and was just begging for a touch of the back stick. This is Guest. Strong. Miller. Back out to Hampson. Patient build up from Oakleigh here. So size up the optimum delivery. Miller will pick up the pace. Recycle back out to Strong. Has room to cross. Strong sends it in. A rather predictable trajectory on that cross. Kurta has Sinclair snapping at his heels, and Labib was a bit over-enthusiastic.
Just that explosive pace over 5 yards that we see from Burkhard Kurta. Just got between his opponent and the ball.
I've got to say, Kingsley Sinclair's defensive work there was stellar and probably a part of his game that goes under-remarked upon.
Yeah, you sort of forget about that from Sinclair, who plays, he's often been deployed as a winger in the front three, front four. Look at the ballet, you can turn and take on. Challenge was by Boyce. Hampson's header is a well-timed one back to Manos. But yeah, you don't often rate that side of his game because he's often a player who's in possession and playing forward. But he's so versatile.
He's going to have to play a bit differently today because he's walking the tightrope of a yellow card.
The only player booked today. Inside 20 minutes, he was shown the yellow card. Djuranovic, who goes to ground a little bit too easily, according to referee Guderian. So well played by Taylor Shrivers. Hasn't been a heap of service for Djuranovic so far, but he gives the thumbs up for the idea. As the Oakleigh substitutes are warming up to our left, those options for Chris Taylor today off the bench: Lucas Govranis, Brandon Giaccarini, James Georgiou, Liston Diaz and Joe Knowles. Joe Knowles was an unused sub in the match last Friday night against Avondale. Will we see him this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't been more involved, but if you look at the strength of depth, especially with Miller coming in, Oakleigh have one of the strongest groups of wingers in the competition, so it's hard for him to get a look in. He may not be up to full fitness. Was one of the best players in the comp before he got injured, though. Particularly it was his 2022 season. Incredible before he got that move to Brisbane Roar. And he played in the grand final that night against South Melbourne. Great performance, thumping win in the driving rain. Had one beer in the change room, got in the car, drove to Brisbane.
The things that players will do for success in football in Australia is never ceases to amaze, and that's a great example of that as well. That's unbelievable. Imagine telling someone from England or somewhere that we have to drive that far after a playoff game of some sort.
I imagine he stayed the night somewhere along the way.
Wasn't just raw dogging the whole journey on the high of the adrenaline of winning the grand final. So, just around 5 minutes until half time, plus time to be added on, of which there shouldn't be too much. Just the one injury delay for Braden Spink with the bloodied nose that forced him to be subbed out midway through the first half. Locked at 0-0. Tom Manos really hasn't had a save to make of mention. He sends this one long towards Miller, who's been the target for all of the long balls from Oakleigh so far. The taller man competing against the West Aussie Aidan Coyne. Good duel between those two in the air, and Hampton's going to take the throw. Someone could find a goal somehow before half-time. It would really change the momentum of this one. Both sides keen to just keep it pretty safe so far, not wanting to expose their defences too much in the first half of this top-of-the-table clash. Will this be a preview of a finals fixture, maybe even a grand final preview of what's to come in September? We will see, as Hampson is in possession here. Guest dropping in to pick up the ball. He's going to turn and face forward. He's got Miller ahead of him. It's almost slowed down to a walk here as they try and find the passing lane here. Hampson had let it run, but it was well read by Calvary. He can play it forward. Coyne drives away, and they need to switch the play here quickly, Hume, to try and create something. Oh, I don't know if Steve White knew that Labib was right behind him. Crept up on him like a librarian, and eventually Hume managed to maintain possession. Engelhardt can turn and play forward here. He's got Kota Kadua on the touchline. DeBelle asking for it initially to feet, then out in front. Doesn't receive it at all. So both sides seem intent, just sitting behind, absorbing the pressure at the moment. It's almost identical tactics between the two coaches at the moment, Josh, at least it feels like from up here.
Yeah, they're mirror images of each other. At the moment, they're cancelling each other out. Kurtar trying to make the difference, dropping deep to get involved in the build-up. Get Hume a little higher up the park. Kador tried to play it around the corner first time, and then he wrestles Hampson to the ground. It was a high arm.
It's the same guy. How many times?
Kota Kadua is another one of these Hume players who's picked up 4 yellow cards already for the season. Hand to the face of Connor Hampson. Unintentional.
There's no consistency.
The assistant over there, Jordan English, had a good view of the moment there. Definitely a free kick, but none more according to the officials.
Well, Chris Taylor's become quite irate at what he sees as a double standard. Sinclair was booked for stopping an attack. That was a more obvious booking, I think, than either of the incidents that he's referring to. But it is true that the Hume have fouled when Oakleigh have won possession and are looking to break. And it's a fine line when you're talking about judging whether something is a promising attack. When Oakleigh are looking to break at pace, nearly everything's a promising attack. You can't give a yellow card for every foul, so it's a tough balancing act for the referees. Oakleigh feeling like they've got the short end of the stick so far. Camilleri's long bomb towards DeBelle. Trapp always favoured to win the header. Labib gets a second look at that one. Aerial duel involving Kador and Strong. And then Jacob Trapp with a no-nonsense clearance upfield. Juratovic will chase it. Shrivers makes a bit of a meal of that one. And will cough up the throw as a result. Coyne looking for Engelhardt. Trapp coming in. Appeals for handball, certainly wasn't. This is Hampson. Oakleigh with a bit of forward momentum now. Hampson goes to ground. Penalty. Connor Hampson has his heels clipped. And Oakleigh have their opportunity from the spot. Hume City are apoplectic.
That's a big, big call, isn't it? Kota Kadua coming across to make the challenge. Good run into the box. Lovely 1-2. Hampson, little wall pass off Miller. And Kota Kadua, well, Hume feel that he's got a touch on the ball. Oakleigh feel like he's come in and fouled Hampson. And the end result is Puya Gadarian's going to give the chance for Joe Guest to score against Hume once again. What's your call, Josh?
Well, I've had to go to the super slow-mo to make the assessment. It's a mighty tough call. I think it is the left foot of Kota Kador that does poke the ball. I think Hume are hard done by there. It's a really tough incident to assess at full speed. I think the defender does play the ball on repeated viewing.
The ball does seem to accelerate away from Hampson.
Here's Guest, and Oakleigh have the lead on the road. If this stands, they're 7 points clear at the top of the table. Hume City feeling aggrieved by the decision. But the fact remains that Oakleigh have their goal away from home. And try stopping them once they're leading in a game. 15 unbeaten in the league. And it looks set to continue.
Everyone
Well, it's a game that's had few opportunities in this first half, and in the shadows of halftime, a big moment in this one. Nick Hegarty and the coaching staff are still incensed with the decision to give the penalty. Oakleigh don't mind. They've finally broken the deadlock here. And on the live ladder, they move 7 points clear at the top of NPL Victoria. Halfway through this one, Hume with the work ahead of them to do in this second half. What remains of this first half, which can only be a matter of seconds. Actually missed the fourth official as Bailey Panuta. He might have missed the opportunity to hold the board up given all of the deliberations that have been going on between the technical areas right in front of us here.
Well, we'll have a decent chunk of stoppage time in this first half due to the Braden Spink injury and a penalty award, a couple of other stoppages in the game.
It's 2 minutes extra.
2 minutes we're overhearing from the fourth official.
So we'll end up going on with about an additional 5-ish minutes at the end of the 45 in total. So there is still an opportunity for Hume to try and peg back the Cannons after scoring from the spot. Joe Guest on 45 minutes, low and hard, putting it to the right-hand side of David Camilleri. Classic Joe Guest penalty. Struck well, struck with pace. Even if the goalkeeper went early, he's probably still not going to get there.
Yeah, beautifully dispatched from Guest. He misses the odd one. One on the opening day of the season comes to mind, but generally pretty consistent from the spot. And even, as you say, the goalkeeper gets the right way. There was no stopping that.
Culver's going to switch the play out wide. There's too much on that pass.
First half of a few chances comes to a close in acrimonious circumstances. Hume City up in arms over the award of that penalty. It was Connor Hampson who was too quick getting in behind the Hume defence with that clever 1-2. He thought he was clipped by Kota Kador. The referee agreed. The replays perhaps point to a telling touch off the toe of the Hume defender to the ball, but it wasn't enough. Hume concede the spot kick. Oakleigh take the advantage into half-time in this top-of-the-table bout. And 7 points clear on the live ladder. This one could decide the location of the Premier's Plate come the end of the season, Steve.
That's right. Well, you can see Kota Kaduri still protesting the decision as he eventually heads down the tunnel now with the match officials. Adamant that he got a touch on that ball. In real time at first, it looked like it may have been the right call, but yeah, he may well have got the touch on that one to see the ball running out towards the corner. The players disappear down the tunnel for half-time. There wasn't a lot of opportunities, and it's probably fitting that it was a goal from a penalty kick that was the only way we're going to separate the sides in the first half. The defences really didn't give each other a look, cancelling each other out. And I think, Josh, for the second half, we're going to need to see Hume trying to get some more bodies forward, and perhaps Oakleigh will be looking to do the same if they want to double their lead, because they're not a team who likes to sit on the single goal cushion too much, because when they have, they've usually been punished.
Yeah, the best of this game is yet to come. So stick with us here at Nasiol Stadium. We're in round 21 of the Senol NPL Victoria season. The score at half-time is Hume City 0, Oakleigh Cannons 1.
Well, hello and welcome back for the second 45, Senol NPL Victoria men's competition. It is Saturday afternoon football. The league leaders going toe-to-toe here, and it is the league leaders who have the edge. The Oakleigh Cannons lead through a 45th minute spot kick from Joe Guest, and that's what separates them and the host today, Hume City, here at Naciol Stadium. Welcome back for the second 45. Thanks for your company. I'm Steve Curtin, and welcome back into the gantry for the second half on this picture-perfect afternoon. Josh Parrish.
Thanks, Steve. It's been eventful so far. Contentious spot kick, the difference. Had repeated viewings of the slow-mo, and it's still somewhat inconclusive as to whether Kota Kador got a touch. I think he might have been hard done by. Referee only gets one look at it, and Oakleigh have the half-time lead. So all to do for Hume in the second half. Trailing by a goal to nil against one of the competition's most consistent teams. Unbeaten in 15, going on 16 league games today.
It's been a couple of weeks since Hume have managed to get a win as well. We had a run of 3 wins, but that was broken with a draw a couple of weeks ago and then going down 2-1 at Preston last Friday night. So they're keen to get back on the winners list, but they're going to need to get this second half off to a good start and need to try and get some bodies up the park. Their 11 is still as you were, apart from that one change with Braden Spink coming off with a bloodied nose, and he was replaced by Zahi Addis midway through the first half. Look at this skill from Burkhan Kurdar, and here is the substitute Addis. Really good challenge from the former Hume man, Joseph Ford. He keeps the ball in play. Djuradovic and now Labib combine. And Oakleigh can get themselves out of trouble.
Nice build-up from Hume, but it comes to naught. Ford with long ball up the line for Labib to chase. Shrivers will step in. And calmly done by Taylor Shrivers, who captains the side this afternoon. We need Engelhardt more involved for Hume in the second half. They need to get him on the ball more consistently. Every time he gets it, looks like something's about to happen. Put in a good cross in the first half. But largely he's been taking up these central positions and they just haven't been able to feed in the ball.
You can see that off the ball at the moment. He's drifted in inside the centre circle, so it's clearly a tactic that they've been working on with Kota Kador, who's got plenty of pace himself, pushing out high and wide. But
well, it's Coyne dropping into almost a back three when they build up, and Kador really high, almost as a winger as a result. And that's why they're bringing Engelhardt inside all the time. And he just hasn't seen enough of the ball.
Yeah, that 3-man rotation, it's just causing him to go into that heavy traffic area, and he's not able to really play to his full strengths.
It's not that he can't play as a 10 or an inside forward, is whatever way you want to describe it, but he just hasn't been served the ball in the areas that you'd want to see him. You know, maybe they have to be a bit bolder with their passing. It's always a risk because if Oakleigh step in and make an interception, they can flash forward up the other end with their quick wingers and Guest's ridiculous through balls that are his trademark, and Oakleigh could be in for a second. So it's a balancing act. But he may have to drift wider just to get involved in the game and get the space he wants.
Well, he received the ball in the wide area in that last phase, played it up to DeBalle, who miscontrolled it. That was a little bit out of character for Godfrey DeBalle. Maybe the sun was in his eyes as well. So it's Hume enjoying plenty of possession in the opening moments of this second half, but they're just having trouble linking the lines of their attack. And they're going to try again here. Kurdar, it's a clever touch from Engelhardt, who'd again drifted inside, trying to prove us wrong. He's looking like he's loving life through that spine of the pitch, but they've managed to win the throw here, so they can try and keep the attack going. Taken reasonably quickly by Kadua.
Just a bit bolder with their vertical passing, Hume, into tighter areas, trusting their technical players in Kurdar and Engelhardt that they will keep it, they will combine well, create openings. That's what you want to see. He's not going to play as a traditional winger.
And they have to do just that, Josh, or they're not going to get themselves back into this game. They've got the quality out there to do it. We've seen it from them this season, and they just need to show a little bit of confidence and back themselves in and see if they can just control the ball and be decisive in the key moments. And they've got the chance as a result of that style of play with this set-piece opportunity. So it's going to be floated in by the left foot of Steve White. It was a useful ball. That Flag went up on the far side for offside. Daphne Gunaris over there saw that one of the Hume players had moved a fraction too soon before the set piece had been delivered. So a good defensive line by Oakleigh. They'll take that in their stride. Interesting first half. Hume unable to manage a shot on target or just a shot in general despite their best efforts. As we can see, Tom Manos taking the goal kick. He has gone for the baseball cap, Josh. Good call by the Oakleigh goalkeeper.
Maybe that'll prove the difference. Clean sheet for one, not for the other. Don't think the Sun had anything to do with Camilleri conceding from a penalty, but always love to see the goalkeeper in the cap.
It's not something we see too often. So many night games these days.
And the sun is a little bit lower in the sky now in the second half, so all the more important.
He's forward, inside his guest. Decent first touch, and he can play across the halfway line. It's obviously a little slippery out there. Steve White losing his footing as he tried to jockey his opponent. Got plenty of big games getting underway this afternoon. It's a feast of football in NPL Victoria this afternoon on this beautiful Saturday. Kicking off shortly, Avondale and St Albans. Actually, that's underway just already. Getting underway very shortly, though, is Altona Magic and Heidelberg United and South Melbourne, the Preston Lions. A little later, Caroline Springs, George Cross against Melbourne City. Those two sides trying to find their way into the top six. Is there a foul here?
What just happened to you?
He said Labib pushed him.
Free kick against Labib. We heard that from our fourth official, Bailey Panuto, explaining to the Oakleigh coaching staff. Really good access here, being in this position above the fourth official and between the technical areas. Great view, but great exposure to the officials' decisions as they happen.
Slightly voyeuristic position up above the Oakleigh bench. We can hear everything that's being said. Feel like you're eavesdropping at times.
It definitely does feel that way as we're standing right on the shoulder of Chris Taylor here.
I think the home bench gets off scot-free with the position of the scaffold just slightly off centre.
Yeah, a little bit more secluded given the position of the big digital scoreboard just to our right. It forces us to be just above the visitors' technical area, and it's the visitors who are feeling more aggrieved in the opening minutes of this second half as Hume have had a couple of more decisions go their way. Engelhardt in a bit of space. Plays the ball for Disu Bayu. It might open up for a Disu Bayu, and he couldn't pick out the corner. Oh, good move by Hume. And Engelhardt finding that little pocket of space. And Disu Bayu getting the first shot in anger, really, there for Hume City.
That's their first shot on target, but it's a huge chance. Seems harsh, but a player with 11 league goals this season in Disu Bayu should probably bury that or make Manos work a bit harder. Telegraphed his intentions, opened up his body and rolled it at a pace that was pretty comfortable for the goalkeeper. What were we saying before Engelhardt? If you can get him involved, he'll make things happen. It was a great receive, turn and spot with that pass. And Hume City can create even against a defence as good as Oakleigh's. Second sturdiest in the competition. It's Hume's turn to be upset with the referee. Coin felling guest, but getting a piece of the ball. Go in for the challenge again and clear it over both fences. That will take some fetching.
Yeah, it really does feel like a battle of the strong defences. Oakleigh the second best defence. Hume City the third best defence in the comp. Defence is winning out largely. The only goal this afternoon not coming from open play, but a penalty kick through Joe Guest. And Oakleigh trying to go forward. They haven't been forward too many times in this second half, but Labib is in possession. He's got Aders to beat. Strong in a good bit of space. He can play it out wide. And he's got Matthew Miller out there. He skips past his opponent. Was he fouled there? Yes, he was. And it's Koda Kadua who was the guilty party when Oakleigh won the spot kick, who's judged to have given away the free kick there. And from here, it looked like a correct decision.
To be honest, it's difficult to tell with the patch of shade on the far side and the gleaming sunshine. But the way Miller went down looked plausible.
Was right in that shade of the gum tree there in the corner. Guess with the delivery. Just about away. Oh, and it broke for Miller. And that was a better chance than maybe he realised on the surface.
Yeah, I think he knows now. Ball dropped to him really invitingly. There's a lot of bodies in the way. But it slightly skews off his right boot and wide. Player in goal-scoring form. Terrific diving header last week in their 2-0 triumph over Avondale. This is his first goal for the club. He nearly had a second there. It's only his second start for Oakleigh in league football today. He's had to work his way into the side, but was able to join early before the transfer window because he was a free agent when the season began after coming off a professional contract. So it's a little loophole in the rules and regulations. Didn't sign too much before the transfer window, but he's had a little bit more time to bed into the team. That looked like a handball from White. Maybe inadvertent. Engelhardt.
Well, Hume looking to try and get the momentum going their way again. They had a good run of possession and moving into that final third just before that previous Oakleigh attack. There's a chance. Was that a foul on Kerdar? It was a late whistle, but a free kick nonetheless going to Hume. So it continues to be a little bit more cagey, but you sense, Josh, it's just opening up ever so slightly in this second half.
Plenty of ill feeling out there and frustration in the Saturday afternoon sun. Campbell Strong, you could hear his hybrid Kiwi English accent bellowing out, "I didn't touch him." Did look a foul from here. And this game may be one that's decided on set pieces. We flagged that early on in the contest. Kerdar, the league leading assist maker. Oh, and it's a poor punch from Manos, and it's headed goalwards by Shrivers and just wide of the mark. Well, a gift of an opportunity for Hume City. Tom Manos sees the ball skim off his knuckles, allowed to bounce well inside the penalty area. The goal was unguarded for a moment, but Shrivers couldn't generate the pace or direction on the header.
Yeah, Manos just not getting a good contact on that punch. He went with the double-fisted attempt. Really just grazed off the knuckles. Shrivers did all he could, really. It was bouncing awkwardly, and it was difficult distance to try and head the ball home from there. And in the end, it just sort of was a little bit too high and looping away from that top left corner. But good delivery from Burkhardt and Kerdar. It caused a bit of discontent in that Oakleigh penalty area, and that's what they're trying to keep going here and try and keep the pressure on this Oakleigh defence that they weren't able to test in the first half, at least in terms of shots on goal. Oakleigh just inviting Hume to try and play through the lines here. Shrivers decides to play over the top, the diagonal. Bit of slice on that one. Decent touch by Engelhardt, showing his good close control and a turn of pace into the area, and he might win the corner here for Hume.
That's a really lovely take off a lofted ball.
Spinning, it was coming down with, if it was a colder day, you'd say it was coming down with snow on it, but he controlled it so well and just turned the Jets on. Good individual quality from the Mexican.
I'm not sure if I can quite pin down whether he's left or right-footed, Chris Engelhardt. He's just such a technically well-rounded player. There's heavy traffic in the 6-yard box off this in-swinging corner, and Manos was called into action, or did it hit the crossbar? The referee says no touch off the goalkeeper. Well, nearly an Olympico from Steve White. And Hume City a lot more potent in this second half, threatening with a lot more regularity. Thought Manos might have got a fingertip to it, but...
I'm certainly sure that Tom Manos will feel like he had that one covered.
Yeah,
Sure, he would have felt
rattled the crossbar,
he
but
would have felt a little relieved when he saw that one go out of play for what eventually was a goal kick. Plenty of space here for Joseph Ford, a man who knows this territory very well out here. A reasonable touch from Labib to kill it dead. He draws a crowd. Ford getting to the byline, trying to cut it back. And giving the cover there was Zahi Addis. Makes his 12th appearance of the season. Does Zahi Addis off the bench today, coming on for the injured Braden Spink during the first half.
they're just trading set pieces here. Oakleigh free kick, Hume free kick, Hume corner, Oakleigh corner.
There's a real feel of repetition to it.
Guest looking for the 6-yard box, and Camilleri rises as well.
Yeah, good take.
Yeah, plenty of bodies around him, so confident goalkeeping from Hume City's reserve, who's continued to deputise for the injured Chris Oldfield. Sinclair, who went down clutching his face. Eventually the whistle goes against Godfrey DeBelle.
He's
on
left
a
a trail
rampage.
of destruction.
Body strewn left and right as Godfrey DeBelle ploughs his way through the middle of the Oakleigh backline, but illegally so.
Well, Kingsley Sinclair's inadvertently copped one to the mouth there, so it's time for the Oakleigh trainer to come out and offer some support here. Hopefully it's not a second blood nose of the afternoon.
I was going to say, the theme of repetition in this game continues. Braden Spink having the patch-up job at half-time and being substituted just beforehand. And now Kingsley Sinclair will see if they can stem the bleeding and keep him in the middle of the park. He's an important player for Oakleigh. I think the most obvious replacement will be young James Georgiou. Brandon Giaccarini can play more centrally, but probably more of an offensively minded player.
All the subs for both sides are going through their paces at the moment. I'm not sure if the Oakleigh subs are just going through in an optimistic fashion or if they've been told they might be getting ready to come on. For Nick Hegarty, some of those options this afternoon: Josh Wilkins, Josh O'Kane, Josh Bingham. A lot of Joshes on this side of the pitch, Josh. Also Munir Badous, Baron Sem Kavak.
If three's crowd, I'm not sure what 4 is. Throng.
I'll have to speak to Tony Pasoli and work out the maximum number of Joshes that have been in listed as substitutes on the team sheet in the top flight of Victorian football over the years. As it's Oakleigh in the shade of the gum tree trying to get the attack going here. It might sit up for Juradovic, who would emerge from the shadows with the football, and good challenge sees it out of play for an Oakleigh corner.
Let's wait until the next generation comes through, Steve. We might see an entire lineup of players named Noah or Luca, judging by the Emerging Socceroos Championships and various tournaments that I've seen.
No Olivers in those squads.
Fair few as well. This is Sinclair's delivery. He's back on the park. And now Shriver's the latest to go down clutching his head.
Yeah, head clash there. Shriver's one of those players down. Oakleigh player down as well. So it's turned into a war of attrition in the second 45. Braden Spink might claim that was also the case in the first 45 too. The Oakleigh trainer, who was already out there offering some treatment, he was still behind the goal at the other end. He's running the length of the pitch here to offer some support to the Oakleigh player who's down, who we're just trying to get confirmation of who that is at the moment.
Might need the S&C coach on for the physio here.
It's the man out there, Shaquille Paligaru, is covering more territory than some of the players, at least those on the bench at the moment. Running up and down with the bag of medical supplies to try and find a cure here for this stricken Oakleigh player. Only so much you can do if it has been a head clash, though. Is it Matthew Miller, the player who's down?
by process of elimination. I think you're right.
That's
it's Hampson.
Connor Hampson.
Miller's standing in his position at left back, which fooled us.
They've both got a similar build, those two, as well.
Now it's Hampson's turn to run the perimeter of the pitch to a spot where he can re-enter the play. Steve White scheme at the base of midfield onto Curda. Into Subayu getting a touch.
Good duel on this side between Bayou and Ford. I feel like Ford's got the better of it so far, but Bayou's in possession, trying to change that. Kurda, a little bit more space here for Addis. You can hear the Hume defenders trying to push that defensive line up the park. So it's compressed out there. Calver. Engelhardt. Kadura in the wide area. It's a low cross. Oh, it bounced up, almost a handball off Adisu Bayou.
It's been a rather thankless task for Adam Durantovic today.
He's been isolated at times, hasn't he? And that was a really good example of that.
Well, I think it's by design. It's instruction. When Oakleigh are building up on one flank, he stays in the box or at the back post waiting for them to get the telling delivery in there, and as a result, he's a peripheral figure in their build-up play.
Just a little nibble on the heel there of Burkhan Kurda.
Imagine it's an entirely different set of instructions when you've got Alex Salmon playing there.
Well, we can give this away. We saw Alex Salmon doing some run-throughs pre-game, and he was looking like he was moving pretty well, at least in the straight line, so he is on the road to recovery. How many more weeks before he's able to go into the action of a match situation is another question altogether, though.
Last I heard, it was around 24 or 25. They were hoping to get him back. Might be earlier, judging by his progress today. Thought he might have a tough time regaining his position in the lineup with the scoring form that Juratovic was in earlier in the season. But as you mentioned earlier, 9 games without a goal, drying up a little bit for Juratovic. So I think they'd have Salmon back in there if they could. Engelhardt. White. Lines up his sights, Steve White, and it's too close to the goalkeeper. Getting a shot on target just to test Tom Manos, who's been almost a spectator in the first half, busier in the second.
Yeah, worth a try there, absolutely, with the quality of Steve White's left foot. Here he is in possession again. Talked up the quality a little bit too much there. He's shanked that one, but if Oakleigh are going to sit off and drop off into their own penalty area, it's probably the right call for Hume to start trying to put the pressure on Tom Manos, who is looking straight into the sun from those sorts of positions. Not too far out. Might be able to draw that Oakleigh defence back up, the defensive line back up the park a little bit, so they have more opportunity to get in behind. But it's Oakleigh back in possession through Kingsley Sinclair. He can switch the play here towards Guest. Really well read by Aidan Coyne. This is the central defender, Calver, ahead of him. Kadua using his body well. Oh, he caught Hampson late there. Connor Hampson has been fouled by Kadua for the second time this afternoon late. And will Kadua go in the book for this? We said he's on 4 yellow cards currently. It looks like he might have got away with it again.
I think it was a little bit exaggerated by Hampson.
That's certainly what Bailey Panuto, the fourth official in front of us, is indicating to Chris Taylor at the moment.
I think he's just put a little bit of extra mayonnaise on that one. It was definitely a foul, no question about it, but the pirouette, perhaps unnecessary. And he's got every trick in the book, Connor Hampson, to try and get his opponent booked.
Right in front of the home fans in the grandstand here at Naciol Stadium over there on the far side, so...
Don't think he's the most popular character in the stand, in the venue after that one, rather. So I do think they need to test Hampson more by just getting a runner in behind him. It doesn't have to be Engelhardt. We were talking about him playing as a very narrow winger. It could be Kador. It could even be DeBelle. As Oakleigh have an opportunity here. And another shout for a spot kick. It looked like a tangle of legs and nothing obvious. It's only really one appeal from the player who went down.
Yeah, they certainly didn't go up in unison there, the Cannons players. That pass is a little bit short, inviting Labib to come in and challenge. He knocks it out for a throw. Mick Hegarty calling for calm for his players to just keep their heads at the moment. This throw needs to be taken from the correct blade of grass, which it is now.
It's nice to see that enforced players get away with all
It's a
sorts
very local football thing where referees enforce it so strictly, but against more experienced players, it seems like they get away with it too much.
Don't get me started on the foul throw, Steve.
One set of rules for local football and one set's for the pro and semi-pro levels, I think.
Is it an assumption of, or almost an honour code?
Yes, I think
throw-ins.
entirely what it is the reason why. I'm going to call a professional player for not knowing how to take a throw-in. Here's Kerdar. He can turn and play forward here. It's a good ball into the feet of DeBalle, who's clattering into one or two opponents. Good first touch by Steve White, who pulled the trigger from a similar area a short time ago. This is Addis.
Thought he might let it run onto his left foot and have a pin from there, Steve White.
Just about could have. Addis skips inside. It's a congested area. So many Navy shirts behind the ball. White went onto his left and back onto his preferred side. Here's a chance for Addis. He's going to get to the byline. Can he get a tallying cross in to the top of the box? Oh, there's a couple of Hume options. Kerdar. Oh, he's missed his kick. And then Coyne. That's blocked. Well, Hume trying to turn the screws a little bit here. But the Oakleigh defence survives yet again.
They are great at absorbing pressure, Oakleigh, but I do wonder whether they're going to make a change. Maybe on one of the flanks, just bring on a Diaz or a Knowles and give Hume a little bit more to think about in transition. So it's been all Hume.
It was Coyne who'd pulled the trigger from the edge of the area. Still looking for his first goal in Hume colours. It would have been a great time to score it had that gone in. Flick on was by Juratovic. Well kept in by Labib. Now Juratovic is in business here. A couple of Hume players back to close him down. Forward, not sure if he wanted it there. He's managed to control it, and still he goes, Joseph forward. Well played by Bayou, tracking back. Kerdar, good first touch. And he keeps going as he fouled by Sinclair. There he is. Right under the nose of Pulyaguderian. Looks like Josh Bingham is going to get the instructions from the display book here before he enters the field.
It'll be interesting to see whether it's a straight swap up front for DeBelle or whether they try and play the two together. It was a straight swap last week and they were playing together, so might be making that mistake again.
Porque no los dos.
Kerdar's getting more involved. Englehart's been more involved. This has been better from Hume City. Just need to make it count on the scoreboard. Kingsley Sinclair continues to walk a bit of a disciplinary tightrope. Looked a foul. Play will be allowed to run on, and Steve White, his options ahead of him. Bayou. Adisu Bayou off the back of Brody Boyce. It ricochets to DeBelle. Couldn't get it under his spell. Cleared as far as Aaron Calver. Hume committing plenty of bodies forward now in search of an equaliser. It's Calver's cross. Bayou's first touch was loose. It'll drop to Engelhart. Blazes high and wide. What a chance for Hume City.
Oh, it was careless from Brody Boyce. Just gifted him the ball. Engelhart should have made him pay full price there. It was a really good clearance in the previous phase of play by Kingsley Sinclair, dropping in from central midfield to help that duo of central defenders to get the ball away from the dangerous figure of Godfrey DeBelle. So we're definitely going to see Josh Bingham. We're going to see Josh Wilkins as well. He's kept the bib on for the moment.
Bring on Josh Kane as a triple Josh. substitution.
Well, we had the quadruple sub last week. We get the triple Josh sub here.
Triple J.
So Hume in possession again. They're going to try and play through the middle. Good first touch off the chest by Steve White to protect the ball. Guest was a little too eager. Well, Josh O'Kane was an unused sub last week, so perhaps he's due to get on the pitch. Very handy player. Bit of space here for Labib. Labib goes onto his right, back onto the left. Here's Labib, back onto the right again. Labib. The dexterity of this man is unbelievable, but the shot was too high in the end. And we'll see that double change now. And I'm sure that Hume will make sure that the required amount of players exit the pitch here.
A bit less work for the fourth official this time. It's going to be a Disubay who's withdrawn. It hasn't been his best performance. He's had a great season, but an underwhelming display.
Cody Kadour's going off on the far
So
side.
straight swap it right back. But I do think they need to give Oakleigh something more to worry about in terms of some width, attacking width down that flank. Maybe that's what Wilkins has been brought on to do. A real weapon going forward in his heyday with Heidelberg United. Some injuries have set him back in his time with Northcote, but back in the top flight, Josh Wilkins. It's almost NPL Victoria's answer to Cafu or Dani Alves for a couple of years there with Heidelberg. He was unbelievable. Love to see him back to his best.
Well, he'll be hoping to turn back the clock in this cameo over the next 15 minutes plus added time. Looks like Joe Knowles is ready to come on as well. Looking pretty slick in the white boots down there.
Nice to see Joe Knowles, the talent he is. What a talent this man is as well. Labib. Has Miller arriving on the far side. That's a waste from Oakleigh. Just indecisive with their movement of the ball there. They had the numbers. Miller was begging for it on the far side of the ground. Instead, it's a substitute, Josh Wilkins, who gets his first opportunity to cross. And it's straight into the grateful gloves of Tom Manos.
Well, he's a direct player, Josh Wilkins. That was a little bit too direct, perhaps. But that's his first involvement in the game. He's signalled his intentions, I suppose. So here's that change. It's going to be the end of the shift for Adam Juradovic. That'll be 10 games without a goal for Adam Juradovic. And Joe Knowles is going to come on, so a striker for a winger.
Well, in fairness to Juradovic, he's just not had the service today in the role that he's been asked to play. Fairly selfless display for the team, but very little return for his efforts up front.
As he's done probably most weeks of late, he'll be not too fussed that he hasn't been scoring because he's been involved in creating opportunities for others. Guest and Labib, Miller last week as well.
Matt Miller's going to play up front.
We've seen him do that as a sub on his return to NPL Victoria. So a versatile player known as a right back in the A-League, played as a right winger and also as a striker in NPL. No foul there.
Yeah, I think Labib a bit unfortunate not to get the whistle, but speaking of Matt Miller, he comes from a big family, a very talented footballing family.
Yeah, one of 10.
Yeah, 8 brothers and 2 sisters.
How would you be with 10 kids at home, Josh?
Oh, struggling with one, to be honest, Steve. This is Addis. So, Kurtar whips it in. Stooping header from Tratz. Now Joe Knowles. Well-earned free kick. Continues a proud tradition of the Miller name at Oakleigh. Hamish Miller, a favourite of Chris Taylor for many years there, a utility player.
Still going around in the Victorian football pyramid, I believe, Hamish. I heard during the COVID lockdown era you were allowed to have your immediate family around, and the police were going around to the Miller household saying there's more cars and people here than we would expect there to be, and they said no, this is immediate family.
I believe Josh Miller is at Eltham Redbacks as well. towering defender.
Haven't Eltham been a club to keep an eye on this year, and in recent years as they've climbed up the Victorian pyramid. That's a good header by the substitute Wilkins. Just hung in the air for a moment. Good vertical leap. He's 33 years of age now. Still got that vertical leap on his side. Like a shove in the back. No call. And they're going to keep going here. Looks like Aaron Culver's making some runs out of that defensive line and trying to get involved in the attacks. Here he is chasing the ball again. Like a hairy goat out there, but it's the composure of Guest that finds Knowles. Puts it out in front of Ford. Sets him a task, but he's going to get there before it can cross the touchline. Kerdar doing the defensive work. Won it back well. Well played by Steve White. The poise and grace of Flamingo in the centre of the park there by the Hume midfielder. And now Bingham with the first time ball. It's not a good one. And the move breaks down for Hume once again. As the clock is starting to become the enemy of Nick Hegarty's men. Inside 10 minutes, plus stoppages to go. Addis over the top. And again, it's well read. Brody Boyce, who's played another solid game today alongside Jacob Trapp. Still no Jordan Hall in this Oakleigh outfit, but doesn't seem to bother them too much. They've kept the clean sheet last week, looking like doing it again today.
Oakleigh feel that Brody Boyce was caught late there. Knowles.
I didn't see if advantage was given there or if it was just missed by the referee.
This is Labib. Guest. Knowles. Pass on wide. Instead, they try and thread the needle. And it breaks down for Oakleigh and Campbell Strong.
Is it a good time to, if you don't want to know the scores, if you want to watch the other games later in suspense, to go around the grounds and, well, hasn't actually been a goal fest this afternoon.
Not so far. Only goal so far is right here. Nasiel Stadium, scoreless between Avondale and Dinamo. Altona Magic and Heidelberg locked at 0-0. South Melbourne Preston still scoreless at Lakeside.
Joe Guest goal on 45 minutes. It's still the decisive one at the moment. Converting from the spot from 12 yards to beat Damon Camilleri after Kota Kadura had brought down Connor Hampson. Some conjecture about the decision when it happened. Hume weren't happy. Felt that Kadura might have got a touch on the ball. Well played here by Zahi Addis. Can he get in a good ball on that left foot? It's going to sit for Burkan Kerdar, who crushes his shot against the oncoming Jacob Trapp.
That's a poor delivery from Zahi Addis. He has 4 players assembling at the back post. Instead, the delivery is waist height.
Just never really gave it a chance, and it was fortunate that it did end up breaking to Kerdar on a ricochet. Certainly wasn't the intention. Just didn't look confident as he looked up to the centre of the box there. He was going to be able to nail that cross.
Well, they've had reinforcements at both fullback positions today, Hume, so you'd expect a little bit more attacking output from those flanks. Had his first real opportunity to test the Oakleigh backline with a delivery into the box and just didn't use the time he had to look up and pick out a teammate. Another hit and hoped. Kerdar will fire one in towards Josh Bingham. Has to chase back as Labib runs in on the counter. Oh, Josh Bingham.
Wow, put that man in central defence.
He's in central midfield at the moment. That'll do nicely for Josh Bingham. And
what a sliding challenge. That's excellent.
the sort of tackle you associate with a natural centre forward.
We've all heard the saying, a striker's challenge. It's not that. That wasn't that.
Shades of Wayne Rooney in the MLS. Just needed a beautiful cross to follow it up.
You just need to turn around and run with it. That's going to incur the wrath of the home fans who were hoping for a play on call there. Instead, it's an Oakleigh free kick on halfway. So 5 minutes of regulation time to go at Nacional Stadium. Senol NPL Victoria round 21. It's been a tense afternoon. And at the moment as it stands, it's Oakleigh extending their lead at the top of the table to 7 points with just 5 games remaining. Unless Hume can pull a rabbit out of a hat here. Here's Kerdar. Options ahead of him. He just plays it inside to Coyne. He's got a little bit of space in front of him. Labib giving chase, and he's a man with plenty of pace too. Just enough to put Aidan Coyne off. And now Miller's back in possession. Knowles playing direct. We've got an Oakleigh player down behind the play.
Well, Oakleigh had the opportunity to put it out if they wanted to.
I can see why Hume will feel a little bit annoyed by that.
Oakleigh chose not to put it out. They chose to pursue an attack, and I don't think the game should stop there unless it's a head injury.
So again, the Oakleigh trainer was called out in the second half. Put a GPS tracker on that man.
They're calling for a sub here.
How's it? Is it Kingsley Sinclair who's down?
I believe so.
Purely another process of elimination.
We should be asking Tom Manos if he's got any spare baseball caps. The glare in this second half is pretty sharp. Thanks to the early kickoff time here at Hume City, which has been the tradition all season.
It's some kind of karma for us making jokes about the caps up here. We should have worn our own. Climatised to matches this time of day in this kind of direct line. Sinclair's back up, but he's going to be hobbling off with a bit of gingerness as he heads towards the tunnel. So not good news with Cam McGill also out injured at the moment. Another central midfielder hobbling off the park here.
It's a big responsibility now for former Melbourne City product, James Georgiou. Started a couple of games this season. Has largely been restricted to bench appearances. But with Sinclair stricken and limping down the tunnel, that's a worry for Oakleigh moving forward. He's been a pillar in midfield. Started all 21 games this season. And looks set for, we hope it's not as serious as it looks, but an injury like that usually signals at least a week on the sidelines, maybe more.
A chance for James Georgiou, the 20-year-old, to impress in the final minutes of this one. Job not done yet for Oakleigh.
Oakleigh have another big game next week against South Melbourne at home. And title run-in gets a little more straightforward from there against Bentley and Green Gully. Though those sides will be desperate for points in their fight against relegation, and Bentley did get a win on the board today, or yesterday, I should say. Double change in the offing for Hume City.
Decent header by Calver. It's he who hit the crossbar from a header when the sides last met late on in the game. Actually, when Hume were leading 2-1, it would have been to make it a 3-1 ball game and give them the ascendancy, but Oakleigh came roaring back into that one. This one, not quite the same high scorer as their last meeting. Just the one goal, and not from open play, but from a Joe Guest penalty, and we've got that change coming up now. So it's Steve White who's been called off. Some chance for Munir Badous. Munir Badous, who missed that great opportunity in the dying minutes to level things up at 3-3 when the sides last met. Could he make amends this afternoon off the bench? Now the player coming on, Baranjem Kavak, gets his sixth opportunity in Hume colours this year in the league.
Yeah, Bingham will move to that striking role with DeBella going off on the far side. Got the message this time.
Definitely won't be something we see repeated. We've got a whopping 7 minutes, so Hume fans who are tuning into the stream, where there's light, there's hope. We have a comeback here still. As we are now into the beginning of that additional 7 minutes at the end of the 90. So it's time for Hume to put the foot on the gas and get the ball up the other end of the park here. This is Zahi Addis. Shrivers, the man who started at fullback and moved into central defence, which is somewhere where he looks a bit more familiar. Not that he hasn't done a decent job deputising in the fullback role. Players shielding their eyes from the sun. Bingham went for the header. It falls to Engelhardt. This is Addis. Kerdar. Oakleigh just trying to keep the pressure on the ball here, and they're doing it well with the substitute James Georgiou closing down the Hume midfielders.
Hume have prompted and probed and had a couple of good opportunities, but the time has just raced away from them in this second 45. They need to find something to keep this Premier's Plate race alive and healthy. Track climbing against Bingham. That will be a Hume free kick.
Yeah, good position here too. Bingham still down on the floor.
And Steve White will fancy this, so will Berkan Kerdar. In fact, not Steve White won't fancy it because he's been substituted, but Kerdar certainly will.
Well, we've seen Kerdar step up in big moments. He scored a wonderful free kick out of Fraser Rise against Caroline Springs George Cross going back a month or two. If he could repeat the dose here, that would be something special. Manos lining up the wall, and it's a fairly extensive wall as well. Looks like he's going to go for a 5-man wall here. So Engelhardt also standing over it.
Yeah, could be Engelhardt. He's the one placing the ball, which is usually a good indication.
So it will be Engelhardt. And it's ricocheted off the stanchion and out of play. Might have been closer than it looked. It looked like it was sailing way over off the boot, to be fair.
Frustrating afternoon for Chris Engelhardt. He had his big chance earlier in the half and couldn't hit the target, albeit from a relatively acute angle. That one had a lot of late swerve and dip on it, but Tom Manis never looked particularly perturbed.
It's probably that kind of free kick that sums up the Hume afternoon. Haven't quite been able to get all their ducks in a row this afternoon, Hume. In a match that's such an important one, so much riding on this.
It won't be the first time nor the last that Oakleigh blunted the attack of a title rival.
They've just proven that they're so good in these sorts of encounters, Oakleigh. They're so battle-hardened. Players like this man, Joe Guest, and this man, Labib, who's joined the squad this year. And could he seal the deal here? Labib. Oh, he's put it in the car park. Good ball by Guest. Labib couldn't capitalise.
Hasn't been his afternoon, Labib, but don't be surprised to see Oakleigh seal this one with a similar counter-attacking move as Hume are forced to throw more and more numbers forward and take more and more risks with their build-up play. Just feels like Oakleigh have just fallen into their lap here with a penalty on the stroke of half-time. They know how to defend these situations. Hume have had a couple of chances. Disubeo with a decent side of goal. The Engelhardt chance we mentioned a moment ago, but really, it's not as if they peppered the Oakleigh goal.
And again, there, another moment that probably sums up their afternoon. Shrivers and Addis not on the same page at all. And then it just plays into the hands of Oakleigh, who can take some more time off the clock. Joseph Ford getting the hurry up.
Liston Diaz is going to get a late cameo here. Injuries have plagued him after a hot start to the year.
Mr. Diaz, another player who hasn't scored since that match against Green Gully on the 1st of May, the same match in which we saw the last goal scored by Adam Juranovic as well, that night when he scored 4. Again into the box, it's allowed to bounce, but it doesn't matter. Normally that would be a red alert for a defence, allowing the ball to bounce in the 6-yard box, but given the trajectory of that, it was inconsequential. And here is that change coming up, so it's the end of the afternoon for Labib, who's going to exit stage left over there on the far side. Liston Diaz ready to go, and how Oakleigh would love if they can get Liston Diaz back up to full fitness and have him performing as he were at the start of this season.
He's still probably got one of the best goal per minute ratios in the league. Last season in Port Melbourne, he missed huge chunks of the year, but he scored a goal about every 80 minutes he was on the park.
He might have that record 2 years in a row at this rate.
It's probably similar. Haven't done the maths on it. This is Manib Adus. Kurdar unleashes from range. Georgiou throws himself in front of the strike.
Good play, Georgiou.
Really disciplined defending this from Oakleigh. Can Hume force something late in stoppage time? It's Coyne. Back with Calver. Whipped in by Wilkins, and it misses the box entirely. And just the execution has been off kilter for Hume City today. They've had chances to put more threatening balls in the box. They haven't taken them.
You can see Oakleigh out there. They're competitive animals. They love moments like this, and the pressure they put on Hume is just causing a string of errors. That and the scoreboard pressure with them chasing this deficit.
They always like to play on the back foot more than they like to dominate games, so they relish it.
We've seen that again here this afternoon. A top of the table clash. Come in, battle hard and match ready for these sorts of situations. They know exactly what to do. Headed by Tratt. Haven't got too long to go. As we said, there was 7 minutes added on. We're just about there now.
Goal would change the premiership equation. Bingham can't get there. Calver stoops. Engelhardt whips it in. High dropping ball for Tratt to head away as far as the edge of the box. Coyne strikes into the ground. And Manos will take his time. Hume City counting out loud for Tom Manos. Maybe an accelerated countdown. And Shriver's header into touch.
It wasn't 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. Joseph Ford in no rush to take this one. He finds Miller, appeals for a handball. And that's it. Oakleigh Cannons, they've well and truly got one hand on the premiership title in NPL Victoria for season 2026. They extend their lead at the top of the table to a whopping 7 points with 5 games to go. And at the end of the proceedings here, this match separated by a Joe Guest penalty. Just too much professionalism for this Oakleigh side that Hume just couldn't really contend with.
Yeah, Oakleigh with a disciplined display. Got that penalty in the shadows of half-time. It was the worst possible time for Hume City to concede. Had to rejig everything at the break after being forced into a first-half substitution and reshuffle in defence. But really, their openings were few and far between. Adessu Bayo will look back on his mishit strike. Engelhardt will think he could have done better from a fairly narrow angle. But a controversial penalty is the only thing that separates these two sides. And Oakleigh, once they scored, they never really looked like conceding. This is the discipline and the consistency and the endeavour of Chris Taylor football on full display. And Oakleigh Cannons take the win today that propels them within touching distance of the minor premiership. The final score at Nasiol Stadium is Hume City 0. Oakleigh Cannons 1. And Steve, this one pretty much went to script for the visitors.
It did, as you said, conceding at the worst possible time, that penalty going the way of Oakleigh and Hume. They hadn't had a shot yet at that point in time as they were going into half-time. They went behind and they never really recovered. They just didn't quite have that dynamic, explosive football that we've seen from them out here, particularly at their home ground at Nasiol Stadium earlier in the season. So it's just going to be a matter of them finding that confidence again. That's now 3 games without a win in the comp. That's one of their longest streaks that they'll have had for a while, as they'll be doing some soul searching. Perhaps some players to come back into the squad. Maybe the leadership of Chris Oldfield could be handy. We're unsure if Braden Spink will be out with that injury after being smashed in the nose early in the first half and being subbed out of this one. But the talent's there, but they've just got to find that connection between the lines and the creativity as they form a bit of a huddle to have a bit of a post-match synopsis on the pitch with Nick Hegarty. We'll see what they can conjure up when they take on St Albans on the road next Friday night. Then they'll be back here at home against Melbourne City before they play Heidelberg United in Friday night football in round 24 over the next 3 weeks. So certainly a chance to pick up the points if they're good enough. But for Oakleigh, in terms of the premiership race, it looks like they're just about there, and they're going to give themselves a berth in the Australian Championship, which is a huge feat for them as they didn't get to play in that last year.
Yeah, that's a huge carrot for Oakleigh, and they have one hand on another piece of silverware. What a successful tenure Chris Taylor has had, and he's not done yet this season. Hume City forming the huddle in the middle of the pitch, I'm sure will be a bit of a pick-me-up. Some words from the head coach, Nick Hegarty, who's keen not to let such a promising campaign come to nothing. But the final score at Nasiel Stadium once again is Hume City 0, Oakleigh Cannons 1. Thank you for joining us in round 21 of the Senol NPL Victoria live stream. Plenty more action coming your way this afternoon and this weekend. But from myself, Josh Parrish, and Steve Curtin, it is goodbye for now.